A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this panel called Hardest State of Mind, a different perspective on our beloved hardstyle scene. Before we start, please a quick introduction for the people that don't know you, starting with Rudy. Who are you, what do you do, who do you represent?
My name is Rudy Peters. I have my own company, CNNCTD DOTS. It's a management company, and we work with guys like Randy, Gunsfire, Adaro, B-Front, and other guys.
Yo!
Yo!
My name is Michael, villain, as you already know. Yeah, I host,
the famous one.
I host and I speak a lot on stage.
Alright, would you like to introduce me? As you always do.
The Wonder Boy is here.
The brightest star in the universe.
Yes, he is here.
My name is Willem, aka Headhunterz. Yeah.
Well, I'm Esther from Poel, and I have my own company, PACCT, and I'm a mental coach for artists and creative entrepreneurs.
I'm Tim, better known as Atmozfears, and I make music.
Fair enough. Strong, bondly, but direct. Yeah, we're just going to start straight from the top because we've only got like half an hour to speak, and this is a topic that, in my opinion, you can never stop talking about. Starting with Headhunterz, welcome first of all. You started vlogging a couple of years ago, in which you shared the highs, but also the lows, and those are the parts that we're going to talk about. You're one of the first artists that actually really expressed the feelings, even in front of the camera. What made you post this? I mean,
because I felt that social media was really it was giving a very unrealistic image of what this life is like, and whereas some people might have interpreted it as complaining or whatever, I felt like I wanted to connect with people with whatever profession in the world, because every human being has struggles, and I think if I look at myself, I would get I would feel more connected to other human beings as if they are open about their struggles, and not be fooled by this this dream image of everyone seems to have a perfect life, and that I feel that might feel people like they're isolated, like they're the only one dealing with shit in their life, and even with this dream job, artists are also facing challenges, and I wanted to be open and honest about that, to maybe, create more connection between people. And,
okay, thank you. Rudy, you obviously work with a lot of artists and are really close. I mean, you see them day and night, especially when you're on tour together with them. Do you see the similar things that Willem is talking about?
Actually, I was saying to Esther, and I had an interview yesterday. We are talking every single day about this. Every single day with my colleagues, with Pim, with Sanne, and all the DJs too. We talk about the struggles. It's lonely on tour. You get tired. You don't sleep enough. We talk every day about it.
Okay, and for you, Tim, how's this experience been for you as an artist as well?
I recognize a lot of things Willem's saying, and well, lately I've taken a bit of a step back myself and visualized what I should do to make things better. And the moment I started opening my eyes more, things got better for me as well. So.
And have you got someone like Esther that you talk to about your problems?
Not regularly, but a lot of colleagues are open on talking about stuff. So.
And for you, Esther, how many people or how many artists have you worked with? Just
Totally or now?
How many are you working with now? Yes.
Now around 20, but it's not only artists, so I think that's very important as well.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of creative entrepreneurs, so also tour managers, bookers. They struggle also with mental health issues.
And they usually say that preventing is better than curing. Isn't it normally so that people only come to you when the problems have already occurred?
Well, that was in the beginning, that's why 5 or 4 years ago I started talking about it. That's why I'm doing it right now, and we talk together like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous, yeah, me too, and I'm like, oh, well, that's okay. You're nervous, I'm nervous, so. But I found it's very important to keep talking about it because you can't prevent it on a certain extent, of course. But you can. I have a lot of customers now who just needed a trust person or to have some kind of connection, and not only when they're fear or burnout or. So I think it's very important to prevent it on a certain extent.
And for you, Michael, I mean, you're an artist. You work long hours on stage, but you like. I've been there as well. But you've got different hours compared to the artists, right? How does it make you feel seeing your colleagues having these troubles or struggles in their touring life?
Well, for me, it's not, how I look at it is like, I dealt with these issues as well, but I don't look at that as artist perspective, but it's just a human being perspective, you know? If you're a baker in a bakery, if you are like a truck driver, everybody has their issues, and it's up to us, yourself, to find yourself and on common ground and to try to be as healthy as possible, you know, to work on yourself. I think that is, for every human being on this planet, that is the most important thing, and we all have our shit. If you're a DJ, MC, promoter, doesn't make a difference. You know, we all have our shit. And for me, you know, when I had those issues, I felt like, whoa, lost. But I immediately looked up stuff on the internet, and I realized that, okay, this is a little bit too much, you know? So I need to step down a little bit and focus on the most important things, and the things that are not important, just put it on the side a little bit. And in that way, I found my way back again and started to appreciate even more for what I'm doing right now. Because what I do, I don't see it as a job, I see it as a hobby. And I'm blessed with this thing that I do, and that I can make people happy and you know, cheer people up. And that's the best feeling ever. So I don't ever take that for granted. So.
And when you were in your lowest, like Poel, when you were dealing with your troubles and struggles, how did you come out? Did you do it by yourself, or did you start talking to people?
No, start talking with people. I talk a lot with Willem as well. We're good friends, so you know, and we have a little bit the same mindset on a lot of things. So yeah, you talk a lot with friends is really good. Don't be afraid to ask or to talk about it, because a lot of people are like afraid like that you are the only one.
Yeah,
but definitely you
thing.
are not the only one.
You've got the feeling that you are the only one. As soon as you're in your lows and in your deepest struggles, you've got the feeling that you're all by yourself and no one else has the same problems. But obviously, a lot of people have, as you can see here. When I see your socials, for instance, Tim, I see you working until 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. And I understand that as soon as you're on a productive level and you feel the vibe, you just want to start working. How is it for you? I mean, you won't see any daylight because you get up like 12:1 in the afternoon, right? So I can imagine that these working hours aren't really healthy for you. How do you cope with that now?
I try to have a normal schedule now. Like it doesn't always work out, but it's good to take breaks, and that's what I beat myself up over a lot of times. I didn't take any breaks before, so that's what I started implementing in my life now. So as soon as I started doing, like taking stepping down a bit, things got back on rails better.
And is this something that you do with your artists? Do you guide them and tell them it's probably better to to get up in the morning at 8 o'clock and be in studio at 9 and then leave at 5 and then go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock in the evening? Is this something you talk about with your artists?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Most of the guys have kids, so they wake up at 7. So I'm lucky enough that all the guys are awake at 8 o'clock. They text me already, but they work on their own. There's no typical menu how to solve this. You have to find a workaround for yourself. Like Michael talks with Willem. I have a coach too. I go to the gym a lot. I try to eat healthy. You have to find your own way.
Yeah, but don't. Most important thing is that a lot of people trying to talk themselves down. You know, because like to all due respect, you know, like the Avicii thing. He passing away. That's a very sad story, of course.
Yeah, that was one of my questions, man. Don't get too far.
But the thing is that I'm a little bit like, when he died, you know, everybody was jumping on top of it, like, whoa, those DJs, blah, blah, blah. Listen, like I said, this is no different than another job, you know. You gotta find yourself in what you do, and, you know, don't try to put too much like weight on your shoulders, you know, and in that kind of way, I was a little bit like fed up because I heard like Atmozfears talking as well on the radio, like, yeah, we need to do something. Like, yes, we need to do something, but this is not only about DJs, you know.
No, that's
this
true,
is human
but
beings.
I definitely disagree that a touring life or a big DJ life is totally different than even if you have a burnout or you don't feel yourself if you work in a supermarket, that's okay, but it's a totally different job.
Why is it different than being like a truck driver that needs to drive to fucking Spain, you know, for many hours?
I think there is an aspect of shame that comes with
Well,
with not feeling good when you have achieved your dream job that everyone practically wants to
Expecting
have,
something, yeah.
and like Tim said, you're beating yourself up over it because you feel like you're not supposed to feel that way because you're successful, you have everything that a person would want, but you still feel that way. So it becomes there's sort of a taboo around it because of that. A lot of people will not want to understand or to hear you out because they feel like, you know, you got nothing to complain. You have
but you think that is the only thing with DJs and artists?
No, and it's not more or less, you know, it's not that the truck driver has its own issues, but now we're talking about artists in the creative industry, and I think there's a lot of pressure also.
Yeah,
you know,
of
if you are, and you know it, if you have 30,000 people and then you go alone in your hotel room, that does something with you. We can't relate to that, so that's a big mental thing, what happened to you.
Yeah, but like I said, you know, I think there's a lot of people in this room as well that are no artists that have something that they think. And, you know, like I said, it's a human being thing as well. And I agree with Willem, the social pressure is very there, you know. And you gotta try to learn from it and try to deal with it in your own way. And try to move forward step by step and yeah, you know, yeah, how to say that? Don't take too much weight on your shoulders because you are the only one that can decide how much weight you can put on your shoulders. It's my point of view.
And as soon as you're touring, because like you've all been touring for quite some years already, and and like Rudy, you're always guiding the artists around, but you have work before the show and you have work after the show, and you need to stay in contact with all the bookers and the promoters. How does that feel for you? As soon as you get home, is there still the stress, and do you have time for yourself? Or?
Even for me, it's difficult to talk with Jessica and Claire. I mean, it's even difficult for us. We don't sleep enough, we work all the time. And of course, I do it myself all the time, but I'm trying to find a way to keep myself healthy in this. And that's why I have a coach, that's why I go to the gym. And like Michael says, everybody has to solve their own issues on his own way.
That works very well, you know, like I said, working out, being healthy, you know, that is really a plus in this whole thing.
So just staying healthy and
yeah, well, and don't go late to bed, you know, like just try to, like during the week. Yeah, trying to during the week.
Can I maybe move my performance to 7 in the evening instead of 4 in the morning?
No, I'm not talking about the weekend, but that's like 1, 2, 3 days in a weekend. The rest of the week, you need to schedule yourself, you know?
Yeah, but what if you're when you're changing time zones, you're messed up because you have to catch flights. It's not just those few performances in
No.
the weekend. Like if I go to China, like my whole biorhythm is messed up because.
But okay, but what you do when you're in China, you go to the gym, try to be mentally and physically in
Of course,
in
but you're
shape.
not. Your body is confused because you're not able to sleep at times that your body wants to go to sleep, and that just messes with everything, with your body and also with your mind. You know, I have the most fantastic job in the world, but when I miss one night of sleep, I'm the most unhappy person in the world.
Of course, I think we all do, but I'm talking about the regular days. If we are home, you don't go to bed like 6 in the morning, right? Like if you're back in Harlem.
Yeah, but how many regular days do you have? You know, there's times in a year for me where I have very little regular days.
But isn't there something, I've spoken to quite a few people the past week just to get their perspective, and something that came up in the Avicii documentary as well is that I heard a lot of people after the documentary saying the managers and the bookers, they put way too much pressure on Avicii himself. But in the first hand, it's his life, and normally an artist comes to the bookers and they're unhappy as soon as they don't have any bookings. So they tell the managers and the promoters that they need more bookings, and then they get more bookings, and then they start complaining, and everyone looks at the managers and says it's their fault that they are pressuring me.
And that's what Michael said. Michael said it's you who puts pressure on your own shoulders, but it's also a lot of people around you. And when you're like getting into this, there's a mountain to climb, and if you don't climb it, no one else is going to do it for you. So it's not just you putting pressure on yourself. It's a lot of people putting pressure, and
yeah,
of course, like mostly yourself. But if you're not going to do it, like no one else is going to do it for you.
True.
And what hit me the most about the documentary was a piece that friends, he said, I don't want to perform anymore, and his really close friend said, you get a lot of money of it, please do it. So these are the pressure also the artist has to take sometimes.
So you're saying that it's also important to put the right people around you.
Yeah, of course, but it's also it's a human way. But still, if you see the documentary, I was really in shock that the real close friends, the people you really trust, say you have to do this gig, man. Why don't you do it? Because
yeah, but I do think that in the end, it is your own roots. You're the one that in the end says yes, and that's something. Yeah, it's
hard
responsibility in the end.
Yeah.
It's hard. But it is hard to. I mean, if you for example you get offer, you say, well, I'm gonna take it a little bit easier this year, and then you get all these offers. It's hard to say no.
Yeah.
Also because I feel like I don't want to be on stage until I'm 60, 65. You know, I have to do it now. That's the pressure you also feel. Now's the time. This is the time where people want to see me on stage. And how long is that going to last? You know, you don't know. So that's also a pressure that comes with it, and that's why oftentimes you'll say yes, and then later on think like, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah, I can understand that if you get offered like 250k for a show, that it's pretty hard to say no. I can imagine, especially for us. Me anyway, I get fuck all paid. But yeah. Esther, what are the biggest problems that you see from the artist perspective as soon as they come into or they reach out to you? What are the things that mostly occur?
They don't enjoy, and they feel guilty of it. So they don't enjoy playing, but they also know that a lot of people want their jobs, so they feel a little bit stressed, or they can't point it out, or they feel the pressure from outside, also with the social media and stuff, to keep performing, that they're happy, that they're like it, and that they're enjoying it, and because also the colleagues ask a lot of money. They ask a lot of money, but it doesn't make them feel valued, worthy. So that's a lot of questions, and then also sometimes really the stress or the balance, and sometimes panic attacks and stuff. These are the most regular.
Yeah, just to check out in the crowd, are there any people here, beginning artists or whoever, it doesn't matter what job you do, who've got the same struggles or had this in the past? If I can see you raise a hand. See, so there's still quite a few people. Do you guys think that after the complete Avicii story and the documentary, that it would be easier for people to talk about, seeing that such a star has had his struggles as well?
I saw a big change. I started my business like 5-6 years ago, and in the beginning it was all managers were very positive. I came from the dance industry, so my network was big, and they were very enthusiastic, like, oh, that's great, but not for my artists. So they were really, you know, like, oh, what are you doing? You're a coach or a psychologist. They don't know you, so there was a big...
It's quite a stamp that gets placed right away, as soon as you need to talk to a...
And I had my clients, of course, but it was totally different, and especially the management, I would say, because they were like, what she's gonna do, I do my own artist. And after Avicii, they really recognized, like, okay, we can help at a certain extent your artist, and then then it's good also that artists talk with somebody else. So I found myself a big difference before and after, and I hate it as well because I find it horrible what Avicii happened, of course.
And have you got a rough sum of how many hardstyle artists you helped in the past? We don't need names, obviously. Just
no, I never give names.
No, exactly.
I think now around 7 or 8. Yeah, in the.
And do you also see comparison to the pressure that's put on from the social media point of view? Because it's like being an artist these days is not only just DJing, not only making music, it's being a brand. And sitting here, Tim with his own merchandise, and Headhunterz being one of the biggest names, and obviously Michael as well. Is there a pressure for you guys, the need to post online every day?
Well, obviously.
Yeah, okay, this is a good example, yeah. But do you feel that pressure?
Yeah, I actually started unfollowing a lot of my colleagues because of it. Because of just seeing the same thing every day. I'm like, oh fuck, I have to do this as well.
Did you unfollow me? wait.
Possibly. No, but that's the thing. I started realizing these things you keep like getting hit with these things all the time when you open up Instagram, Facebook, whatever. There's a.
But is it then the pressure of just seeing your artists or your colleagues playing at festivals that you actually wanted to play at? Or is it okay?
No.
He's posting something now. I need.
Yeah, that's more the social media presence, and like as Willem said before, it's a big pink veil that's put on top of the DJ life. So yeah, I kind of wanted to step down and like give myself some breathing space to not put pressure on me every time I open up my social feeds.
And Willem, do you do the socials yourself, or have you got people to help you with it? Or?
I do everything myself, except for like more official things like post for merchandise and stuff. But all the content that is related to me as a person is me. I'm usually mostly around on Instagram, and my team will repost it for me on Facebook. But yeah, I also want to say, I mean, I also, even though a lot of people, you know, always compliment me about my social media, I feel the same pressure. And I also feel like that creates a lot of pressure, that our job consists of so many things. And you know, I feel like a lot of us would really love to focus on one thing, but you're really forced to do all of it if you want to, you know, be successful. Or, the same goes with DJing and producing. I feel like you know, you get home tired from playing gigs, but you also feel this pressure that you have to you keep putting out music, and this is very there's no boss that tells you to be in the studio at that time, but you'll become your own, like the voice in your head just keeps telling you you have to be present, you know, you have to release new music, you have to be present on social media.
Do you think that it would help to have someone who guides you through your regular day, just to help you get like up in the morning, or and a certain time you go to bed? I mean,
I think I'm already too messed up for that. No, but I mean, yeah, probably.
Because I understand it sounds a bit childish, but as soon as you're like the creative guys that you all are, I can understand that as soon as you're in the flow.
It's sometimes hard to determine for yourself what it is that you need, because I feel that at certain points in my life there's different things I need. For example, at some point I need to force myself to go into the studio, to sit in the chair and just watch myself fail and fail over again until I get to a point where I, discover something and create a great song. But there's also times in my life where I really need to be kind to myself and just cut myself some slack and allow myself to just, Netflix and chill instead. But it's sometimes hard to really decide what it is that you need. If you need a kick in the butt, or if you just need to be kind to yourself for a moment.
Fair enough. And how's that for you, Michael?
Well, actually, what works for me is like, I have a little one, so sometimes when I did a whole night, I come home, I need to bring her to school, and then then I can go to bed or whatever, or maybe she's free, and then I need to stay at home and play around with her. So, I feel good. I feel good. When she came, I trying to find structure in and I needed to do it because I'm forced to do it. And maybe some other colleagues that don't have kids, are like, okay, what am I going to do now? I'm going to watch a movie or going to go back to the studio? For me, it's like I need to really schedule my days. And sometimes it's another one is rougher than the other, but for now, I'm pretty good in what I do with my schedule.
We need kids.
I hope you do, man.
We'll put my life in perspective, maybe.
Okay, so we're approaching the half-hour mark already. Have you got any questions so far? We had a guy with the microphone, right? No, it's gonna. I'm the guy with the mic. Getting too old for this, man. Alright, please introduce yourself first and then ask a question.
I'm Berend, or Rand, or whatever. I have a question. So you were all telling about like the daily struggle and emotional difference, like struggles you made with touring and things like time zones. Like when you go to China, you have to, like your sleep schedule gets like fucked up, and it sucks. But like, when do you get to the point, like if you realize it or not, when do you need to like look for help? Because I think that's a pretty hard thing. Like when you don't realize that you have a problem mentally, it's hard to acknowledge it. So how do you do that?
That's a good question.
Who's going to answer? Who has to answer?
Yeah. Let's start with Esther. I think she's got a good perspective. She's worked with.
Well, I just asked Rudy because he said I had a coach, so I think he's the perfect example to explain maybe when he finds that he needs somebody to talk to.
Yeah, I talk to my coach every single week, actually. When I travel to China with Randy, I try to sleep as much as I can when I want to sleep. When it's difficult, I'm calling my coach, send an email, text him, or whatever. I go to the gym, I try to eat healthy.
And when did you start talking to your coach? Was this before you noticed that there was something going on, or was this after you concluded that you had struggles?
No, it was 3 years ago. I worked too much. My relationship was gone thanks to my job. So I thought, okay, I need to change my life. Don't work too much, find a way to work around and think different.
Okay, thank you. Are you satisfied with the answer? Okay, good. Any other questions? We're going to get a close one here.
My name is Niels. My question is, a few years ago when the social media was smaller or not that big of a deal, maybe this for Willem, when you were also the big star back then, did you enjoy it as much as now, or did you enjoy it back then more than now with the pressure? And also maybe for Michael.
Well, times have definitely changed, but in many ways. Not just social media has come up and has created a lot of extra pressure. It's also that the social media probably also made the scene much more worldwide than it already was, and has, you know, really add up to the distances that I have to travel, and so my life has changed in many ways. So I can't really, you know, put the finger on what makes me enjoy it more or less than I used to. But I mean, social media has for me, it's both. You know, it's sometimes it feels like pressure, but it can also be a very creative and nice way for me to express myself and to share my experiences, and also to enjoy seeing other artists doing their thing. And so I can't really, no, I wouldn't say that I enjoy my career less because of social media. It's there. I can't really, it's so much a part of our lives that I can't really imagine anymore how it would be to be without it at the moment. So I just embrace it for now. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah.
My name is... hello? Yep. My name is Kristen. I'm the CEO of Airport Festival. I'm feeling a bit guilty of booking you guys.
Don't be.
So I can't do it without you, but what can we as a festival do to make things easier? I know there's a rider and we can
good question. Good question.
Blue Cement is coming up.
More money, more money.
Love it. Oh, first of all, be kind to us. Like, like when I get to a festival and you feel unwelcome as an artist, like that really happens.
That's the
like,
just in case crew, right?
It's a
Just in case makes you feel welcome.
No, but that really can make a big difference if you feel welcome and you feel like you know, they really want you to do your very best. It makes a big difference in the experience for the artist, and that's definitely going to show on stage. You know, so that little extra mile that you put into make the artist feel welcome and to make them feel at home. For me personally, it really makes a big difference.
That was a very good question. Have we got any more? Good.
Hi, my name is Boy, and I'm wondering how many festivals or performances have you cancelled because of stress?
None.
I haven't really canceled specific ones because of stress, but I am in the course of these last few years, I have been gradually doing less and less gigs a year. So in the beginning, we are already looking at the schedule for next year at the moment for me, and we have already decided that I'm going to do, a certain amount of performances less for next year, so that we already have an overview of how many times next year I'm going to be in China. And I just talked to my team, and we see how do I imagine feeling the next year if I have this many trips to China, trips to America, and so I'm really consciously working on making it doable for myself.
And another question, if you, because this is a party scene that we are in, obviously, how do you cope with alcohol or drugs? I'm not asking if you're doing drugs, but I said how do you cope? I can understand that this has an influence on your mental
When you
health.
feel bad, you just take some alcohol and drugs, and then you feel bad.
But I understand. But it's really easy to just grab a beer just before the show to get you a bit more loose. But if you do this, if you've got 5-6 shows a day and you drink during every show, then it's 5-6 days a week that you're actually drinking alcohol, which we all know is very bad. But yeah, so how do you do this? How do you do this when you're on tour? Do you always drink? Have you stopped drinking? Let's start with it.
Actually, yeah. Stop drinking. It can get really rough if you keep pushing yourself. So it's okay to let go for a while, but be wary of what you're doing and be smart. Take your rest. Don't overdo it.
I drink more when I'm off than when I'm on. I mostly reserve moments of drinking and partying for when I'm not on tour, when I'm with my friends, and mostly when I'm on tour. I drink very little to nothing because I don't want to, be all messed up at the airport the next morning. And it really feels like these tours to China, for example, it really feels like, I feel like some sort of an athlete at that moment. You really have to survive, and then alcohol makes it a lot heavier than it could be.
It makes it easier on the short term because you get the kick right away, but the downfall is going to be, that's my struggle normally.
I've learned my lessons. I've had the mother of all hangovers at airports and synchronized puking on the public toilets with colleague artists and that sort of stuff.
Sounds like fun.
Where's G-Flow when you need him, right?
Yeah, with G-Flow, yeah.
Do we have any other questions from the audience? You have something interesting to tell.
I know there's a German company called Osram, and they have a mobile device that's called, just a second, it's the Chronergy Eyewear, the mobile human-centric lightning light therapy. And if you have this glasses, it's like for athletics, people who are in China, flying around. They take this lightning and then they can deal with the jet lag and everything. Maybe that's interesting for you.
You can remove the jet lag?
No, this device can help with LED lighting that you can go through the jet lag.
Okay, I'm always interested in new ways to battle jet lags. I've even visited like doctors and stuff that are specialized in sleep, and they gave me all kinds of tips. But in the end, it's so far it's still every time it's a struggle.
So this is the artificial lightning that you get to get the vitamin D going in the process. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Interesting though.
Thanks for the tip. You learn every day. Have we got any other questions?
Hi, my name is Jeff, and my name's Kim. I've done that one a few times. Yes. So I'm speaking. I think I'm from a similar generation as you, Willem, and Mike and Rudy, and a lot of people here, I think, that are sitting here are a little bit younger. So I see you as like the generation after us, and I think a lot of people in here, in this room, look up to you like a leader, an inspirator, and see you as like this institution almost. So whenever they interact with you or look on your social media, whatever they see there, I think could be a really important life lesson. And I think we all talked about the DJ life here, and if we take away the fact that you're famous DJs, doing all the amazing things that you do, but just as human beings, what would your advice be to the next generation as we're talking about this harder state of mind? Like, you've all been on these amazing journeys. What are some of the life lessons or tips that you would give to people here, if you had to pick one or two? I'm really curious to that.
I got an answer?
I think this might be a good a question for Esther. She's dealt with a lot of people, so.
Life lessons over the DJ, I think it's
sorry,
Willem, right?
Can I interrupt? Because I specifically asked it to,
My bad, sorry. I didn't pay attention.
Okay. Well, I think definitely as kind of dysphoric as it sounds, achieving your dream job, getting your dream job is ultimately not the answer to being happy. It's definitely fun, and but there is a lot of other challenges on your path that you cannot cancel out by just becoming successful. We're human beings, and we all get confronted with similar challenges in our lives. So you have this responsibility to grow as a human being, and to not, you know, if you choose to lose yourself in this success in your career, you're definitely going to, you know, not succeed in that. And I think ultimately, you know, being happy is the ultimate goal, you know, for everyone. And there's much more to that than just you know, being successful. So yeah.
Okay, so let me turn that question back to Esther. What are the tips or tricks that you would like to give to the next generation to keep your state of mind as healthy as possible?
What I found good of Michael, he said, like also what my mom always say, enough sleep and good food, and you know, it's a thing that my mom always say to me, and I was like, when I was younger, like, but it's true, you know, so be realistic about it and have a talk, even with people around you, say how you feel. That's also the reason why I'm doing this for years, just to speak out loud, that everybody have the same issues and problems, and just talk about it. And as soon as we do that, then I think a lot of course you still have your own issues, but then it's more common, it's not so a taboo anymore.
I think that's a good one to close on. Thank you all for all our panel members for being here. A big round of applause please for these guys. Thank you very much.